There are so many aspects of Severance to talk about: the cinematography, the acting, the writing, but as an aspiring editor, I thought I'd break down some of the key editing techniques that don't just help tell the story but add to the uniqueness of the show. Establishing power dynamics. The first episode is key to get right. You have to introduce new worlds and characters without overloading the viewer with too much information. An editor's job can help us feel a certain way towards a character. Let's break down the scene between Helly and Mark. Mark's scenes are in pink and Helly's in dark blue. The lighter blue scenes are for the two shots and any time we pull away from our main characters. As you can clearly see, Mark is controlling the conversation. We spend 2 minutes 13 seconds watching Mark and only 1 minute 3 seconds with Helly, instantly telling the viewer that Mark has the power. Creating discomfort. Something I noticed while watching the scene between Mark and Miss Cobell is how uncomfortable and rigid it feels, so let's take a look at how Geoffrey Richman achieves this. After Miss Cobell asks Mark to have a seat, we wait a whole 20 seconds before anyone says anything.
Are you mad at me?
We then have large gaps between sentences. We hold for an uncomfortable amount of time on each character before they begin to speak.
I don't know what that means.
A department like yours can go so good or so bad.
The rhythm is off, leaving us feeling unnerved. Let's go back to the jump scare. The scene up until now moved at a very slow pace, but here the rhythm is thrown off. We cut straight from Mark to Miss Cobell yelling, "Yes!" taking us by surprise and adding to the shock. Building tension. Both the finale episodes do an excellent job in building tension throughout. First, let's take a look at the final episode of Season 1. We spend the whole final episode cutting between Mark, Helly and Irving, each giving their points of view time to tell the story. As we approach the end of the episode, the cuts speed up. Long flowing takes become quick cuts, only giving us seconds before pulling us away.
My name is Helly R. I'm an innie.
We then cut to Dylan and Mr. Milchick. The rope is being cut and we know it won't be long before the innies run out of time. So to increase the already pressure-filled scene, we only allow them a small amount of screen time, constantly having us guess as to whether Mark will tell Devon that Gemma is alive, unsure if Irving will make it to Bert, and will Helly be able to finish her speech? In the Season 2 finale, we have a scene between Innie and Outie Mark. I have cut up the scene into two perspectives. Innie Marks are shown in orange and Outie Marks in blue. The conversation starts slow, allowing each character time to speak, but as the conversation grows more heated, the cuts become quicker. We then cut to an establishing shot, allowing the audience a breath of fresh air, while Outie Mark thinks of his next angle to persuade Innie Mark. It isn't long before the cuts once again grow quicker. Outie Mark grows more and more desperate, and this is reflected in the speed of the shots. We jump between Innie and Outie Mark in just seconds, allowing the tension to build. Another technique that this scene uses to build tension is the choice of camera angle. Just watch as we grow closer until all we have left is an extreme close-up on Mark's eyes, leaving the audience to feel claustrophobic. Let's go back to the only time we see Innie and Outie Mark sharing a screen. Now, why is this transition important? A two-shot can be used to indicate closeness between two characters, but with them having to be in different rooms, they couldn't shoot this type of shot. So instead, Geoffrey gives us a slow fade. As you will notice in this line of dialogue,
you get the right side and I get the left, or is it like a top-bottom situation? I'm honestly trying to understand.
No, it wouldn't be like a top-bottom situation.
It is the only time Innie and Outie Mark make a joke about the situation. This one slow transition further demonstrates a sense of togetherness before it all goes wrong. Season 2, Episode 7. This episode is edited by Keith Fraase and is an inspiring editor's complete guidebook, from match cuts to split screens to that all-important montage, so let's break it down further. Having match cuts allows us to flow from scene to scene in an almost dreamlike haze, and it later becomes apparent that the flashbacks we've seen are Mark's thoughts as he lies unconscious on the sofa. The match cut from Gemma in the outside world to her at Lumen and vice versa allows the audience to see direct emotional change in her face. The montage is just under a minute long, yet manages to convey years of a relationship. So how does it do this? First, let's take a look at the scenes between Mark and Gemma. We have these beautiful handheld shots of them together in the garden, and even when they're not in the same shot, they are connected through their shared actions. We watch as summer becomes winter, further indicating time passing. Another thing you will notice is the time-lapse of the books, signifying the rise and fall of their relationship. With it all spliced together to the French song that translates to the waltz of 1,000 beats, it leaves the audience with just enough information about the years we have missed. The split screen creates a visual link between their shared emotion. Despite their physical distance and inability to reach one another, we get a sense of closeness between Gemma and Mark. Ending on a freeze frame. Finally, let's take a look at that ending shot. Freeze frames can be used for a variety of different reasons. In The Breakfast Club, we end with Bender. His fist is raised and he is looking up, indicating a sense of freedom and an act of rebellion. Another reason to end a film on a freeze frame is when you're about to show a character face death. Implying that something is about to go wrong without showing it leaves the audience with a more optimistic ending. In The 400 Blows, Antoine has escaped, but the freeze frame is used to indicate an uncertainty, leaving the viewers unsure of what the future will hold. Captures his expression and also implies that he is trapped, unable to fully escape his past. I suppose we will have to wait for Season 3 to find out if Severance's final freeze frame fits into one of these examples. Editing is often a hidden art, something most viewers don't even notice, but Severance isn't afraid to go all out in creativeness, and it works brilliantly.